Rhea Seehorn's talent is undeniable, but can it carry an entire show? Pluribus on Apple TV Plus dares to find out, and the results are surprisingly funny, deeply sad, and undeniably strange. Prepare for a wild ride where genres bend, expectations are challenged, and Seehorn shines like never before. But here's where it gets controversial. Will Vince Gilligan's latest creation live up to the hype of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul? For years, TV critics followed a predictable pattern. Every summer, articles would surface championing Rhea Seehorn's brilliant performance in Better Call Saul, lamenting her Emmy snubs. The headlines practically wrote themselves. Why Emmy voters would be dumb to ignore Better Call Saul star Rhea Seehorn evolved into, holy cow, Emmy voters nominated Rhea Seehorn. And ultimately, the resigned, man, Emmy voters really loved not giving Emmys to Better Call Saul. It was a frustrating cycle for fans who recognized Seehorn's exceptional talent. One person who needed no convincing was Vince Gilligan, the co-creator of Better Call Saul. He witnessed firsthand the wry, romantic, and tormented brilliance that Seehorn brought to the character of Kim Wexler, a crucial element of the Breaking Bad universe. So, when Gilligan announced that Seehorn would star in his next project, his first outside that universe since 2001's The Lone Gunman, let's collectively forget Battle Creek, shall we? It felt like a victory. If anyone could craft a vehicle worthy of Rhea Seehorn, it was Gilligan, right? Turns out, the answer is a resounding correct. Pluribus, premiering its 9-episode first season, a second season was part of the initial deal on Apple TV Plus, is undeniably a Rhea Seehorn showcase. It's a pure and often solitary display of her talent. While other actresses of similar caliber might have made it work, it's Seehorn's versatility that truly elevates the show's unique blend of emotional drama, broad comedy, and unsettling horror. She's the glue that holds it all together. That's the easy answer to the easiest question about Pluribus. But be warned, this is probably the last straightforward answer you'll get. Apple has shrouded the show in secrecy, carefully controlling information. While this approach benefits the viewing experience by preserving surprises, it also creates immense pressure. Pluribus must not only meet Gilligan's established standards but also overcome the limitations of a near-total information blackout. It's a high-stakes gamble, and audiences might benefit from knowing just a little bit more. If you prefer to go in completely blind, stop reading now. Pluribus is an extremely funny, somewhat disturbing, and impressively bizarre show that gains momentum with each episode. 7 were provided to critics. Prepare for a new wave of articles titled Why Emmy Voters Would Be Dumb to Ignore Pluribus Star Rhea Seehorn, starting next spring. There you go, nothing spoiled. While the rest of this review will offer more detail, I promise to keep spoilers to a minimum, especially regarding events beyond the first episode, which Gilligan both wrote and directed. But curious minds will undoubtedly have questions. So what's Pluribus about in broad strokes? Seehorn plays Carol Sturka, a successful author of speculative historical romance literature. Think Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series. As the series begins, Carol is wrapping up her book tour, accompanied by her manager and life partner Helen, Miriam Shore. Carol is tired. She's tired of writing the same genre, tired of answering predictable fan questions, tired of keeping her relationship with Helen somewhat hidden, and tired of having to use a breathalyzer to start her car. She dreams of writing a serious novel, but her publisher isn't thrilled about her branching out from the popular Waikari franchise. Actually, that's not entirely how Pluribus begins. It opens with a countdown and scientists at a listening post receiving a message from deep space. This message contains instructions that lead to further research. The culmination of this research coincides with Carol and Helen's return home to Albuquerque. Almost immediately, Carol notices that the people of Albuquerque are different. In fact, the entire world has changed. Carol may be one of the few who remains unaffected, which is ironic, considering she wasn't particularly comfortable with her identity before all this happened. And this is the part most people miss. The show isn't just about a global phenomenon. It's about Carol's personal journey of self-discovery in the face of it. Is that all you're telling us? I'm being deliberately evasive, mirroring the show itself. Some viewers might find the slow pace of information frustrating. Others will appreciate that the story unfolds through Carol's perspective, driven by her interests and logic. Her initial disinterest in the questions the audience wants answered is both infuriating and intentional. Her curiosity and receptiveness grow as she changes, making it a crucial element of the series. What does the title Pluribus mean? I'm not here to give you a Latin lesson. However, it hints at the show's themes of interconnectedness and the challenges of maintaining individuality within a larger group. What are the thematic underpinnings of Pluribus? It explores the internet, AI, and anything that offers a semblance of community and togetherness, often leaving us feeling more isolated and disconnected than before. In this modern world, algorithms, virtual assistants, and intrusive surveillance can create the illusion of being seen while we're actually being watched and quantified, or something like that. Thematically, it's also somewhat elusive, resisting simplistic interpretations, which makes analysis all the more engaging. What shows will Pluribus remind me of? It's a bit of Three-Body Problem and a touch of Last Man on Earth. Carol even references movies that it resembles. If you're looking for a less subtle and more straightforward version, there are at least 2 shows from Robert and Michelle King that fit the bill. Given the Gilligan and Seehorn connection, will Pluribus evoke memories of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul? Definitely, if you pay attention to the closing credits. It's a wonderful reunion of talented individuals, including writer-producers Gordon Smith and Allison Tatlock, along with much of the technical crew, cinematographer Marshall Adams, production designer Denise Pizzini, editor Skip McDonald, composer Dave Porter, costumer Jennifer L. Bryan, and music supervisor Thomas Golubic. Initially, the similarities might be subtle, but as Carol embarks on her quest to solve humanity's predicament, it evolves into an elaborate process show, complete with cheeky montages and convoluted plans, reminiscent of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. How will Apple position Pluribus for Emmy consideration? With episodes ranging from 40 minutes to an hour, it will likely be submitted as a drama. It certainly has dramatic elements. The events in Albuquerque and around the world are far from ideal, even if some people seem happy. It incorporates elements of horror and sci-fi, but since the Emmys primarily recognize comedy and drama, those genres are less relevant. So drama it is. However, it functions best as a comedy, albeit one where nightmarishly dark things happen or are implied. This tonal ambiguity, which I found appealing, stems largely from Gilligan's direction of the first 2 episodes. Few directors working in TV today extract as much value from every corner of the frame as Gilligan does, which is why his episodes often improve upon repeated viewings. This holds true for the Pluribus pilot. He uses the depth of field to create suspense or terror, such as in scenes where Carol drives through her transformed world, requiring viewers to monitor the unrest in the background as much as Seehorn's performance in the foreground. But he also uses it to capture the banal absurdities alongside the high drama of everyday life. Pluribus and The Lowdown are 2 of the funniest shows this fall, but I suspect awards groups will treat them both as dramas. As the show progresses, some viewers might draw comparisons to Jacques Tati, with droll commentary on contemporary life woven into both throwaway sight gags and deceptively elaborate set pieces. Pluribus offers plenty of both. Seehorn, however, is less Monsieur Hulot and more Buster Keaton. When she purses her lips and sets her chin, she conveys immediate sternness and sourness. Carol might not ask the questions you want answered, but if you believe the circumstances warrant irritation, incredulity, and liberal swearing, Seehorn embodies your end-of-the-world avatar. But when Seehorn opens up and lightens up, when she reveals the vulnerability behind the grouchy facade, she becomes precisely the actress you want leading a one-woman show. She's both broad and raw one moment, then bursting with light the next, barely needing dialogue to create a fully realized character arc. If you've ever wondered why critics have built a cult of Rhea Seehorn, simply watch the first half of Pluribus' 7th episode. So, is the show really all about Rhea Seehorn? Honestly, mostly. Elaborating further would spoil the experience. There are excellent guest performances, from veteran soap star Peter Bergman in the pilot to a joyful and amusing Samba Shuti, perfectly cast as Seehorn's opposite in projected attitude, to the enigmatically compelling Carolina Wydra. But ultimately, it's about Seehorn, Gilligan, Albuquerque, and a plot that kept me engaged despite its genre familiarity, all elevated by a tricky tone that resonated perfectly with me. I'll need to see the season's final 2 episodes to determine if Pluribus is one of the year's best shows, but the potential is definitely there. What do you think? Will Pluribus live up to the hype, or will it be another case of style over substance? Share your thoughts in the comments.